All right. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Um, all right. 1 week left before Thanksgiving. We can all make it. All right. A couple of things I wanted to remind you of. Now, here is the um, the spreadsheet of the teacher scored items, and all of you have access to this. You can do this yourself, and you all know how. But I just went ahead and I put ELA in one tab and then math in the other. So let's see. I'm going to look at Woodlawn High School, and I'm going to go ahead and expand this. And so for ELA, when I scroll down to Woodlawn High School, let me go ahead and make it larger. Um, all right. So when I look at Woodlawn High School, here is Woodlawn High School. So these three rows right here. So this is ELA. So Miss Rubin, I don't know if you can. I'm hoping you have a mic, Miss Rubin.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Rubin. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I I'm doing good. And then Friday I'll be a lot better. Um,
Same.
so look, so your English one, and remember, at the district, in our department, we don't have um, a policy on the teacher scored items. We do have a policy that the ANet interims must be given. So
Yes, sir.
it's at the school level and the executive level to determine what you do with the teacher scored items. So you have 63% of your English 1 uh, responses that were scored. Now remember, the 415 is not the number of students. The 415 is the number of responses because some tests had at least two teacher scored items on them. So that's what all that means. So out of 415 responses, only 263 have been scored. Does your school have a policy on, or with your executive director on how to use this information if it has to be scored?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. All right. Can you may want to inform your principal that the for English 1, only 63% of the items have been scored.
Yes,
And
sir.
and for English, this is English 2. English 2, 100% have been scored, and English 3, only 94%. Okay?
I'll let them know.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
You're welcome. Let's see who else is on here. To look at a few more. Westdale Middle. Let's go to Westdale Middle. Oh, and Miss Rubin, that was English. Let's go to math real quick. Let me just go to math. All right.
That should be completely done.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how truthful that is. Let's see. Here's math. You're right. Math is completely done. You're correct. Oop, I'll make sure that's Woodlawn. It has to be Woodlawn High School, right? Yep. 100%. Okay. Thank you, Miss Rubin, for working on that. Um, okay. So Westdale Middle, real quick. Westdale Middle. Tracy, can you mute yourself, please, Miss Golf? All right. Westdale Middle, and that is Heather and Elizabeth. Can y'all hear me, Heather and Elizabeth? Heather, Elizabeth, one of you have a mic? Okay, Heather says she'll be right back. Okay. Um, Elizabeth, was she on here? She signed in. Well, she signed in and then left. All right. Um, okay, so then let's not look at Westdale. So Heather, I mean Elizabeth is not on here anymore, right? Okay, she's not on here anymore. Signed in. Okay, so I'm gonna come back and make sure and check and see if she's back on. Um, River Oaks, Carrie, can you hear me?
I can.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. All right, so I just want to look at the teacher scored items real quick with you.
Okay.
For
We should
River,
be pretty good.
yep, looks like 100% for, well, almost. You have two grades at
Well, yeah,
100%. and then 3.
I think that we had a kid show up late. Like
Okay.
he enrolled like the day we started, the day they were due. And I think we had him, and I think the teacher just forgot to go back and score it.
Okay. All right. But you have pretty good numbers here.
Yeah.
And then for math, I mean, that was math. For ELA, River Oaks, let's see, 100%. All
Yep.
right, great. Now notice that, and as you go through the list, there's some with 0%. So there's quite a few schools that have even, look at all those zeros, have even done anything with it. But again, that's a um, that's a decision on at the principal level and the executive director level as to how to use the teacher scored items. Hopefully it's being used. I mean, what's the point of having students write these things if it's not being used, right? I mean, it's a waste of students' time and teachers' time to do this if the responses aren't being used for instructional purposes. Oop, have no idea what happened. There we go. All right. Let's see. Let's do one more. Anyone else on here? Let's see. Parkview, Dufrock, J.K. Haynes, Melrose. I can do one more. Anyone else? No one wants to look at theirs.
You can look at mine.
Who is that? Chantel?
Miss Mark.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
J.K. Haynes. Let's look at J.K. Haynes. All right. Let's see. All right, J.K. Haynes, you have 100% for your ELA. So all of your responses have been scored. For math, let's see. For math, you have 100% have been scored. All right, good job. All right. Now, Miss Mark, what how is your school using this data? I mean, the teachers scored items. Any idea?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. I mean, so another thing is this, right? When you think about it, so you had teachers go in and score these responses, which for ELA is quite a bit of time. I mean, it's time consuming. You have to use all these rubrics and you have to look at the students' responses. It would be a shame if this data was not used for instructional purposes. I'm just saying. Um, so look at all these 100% that teachers went in and took the time to score these responses. I'm hoping there's some plan to use that information. Okay, that's my little soapbox for today. I just feel for anyone doing all this work and it's just not being utilized. Same thing for all of you. I mean, you do a lot of work. You do a lot of work. You get all this done, right? And you want to see something come out of it. Okay, so make sure you've signed in. Let me go back and put the link back in the chat area. Okay. Did Elizabeth come back in? She signed in and then left. I don't see her back in. Okay. Miss Stewart, are you back in? Heather Stewart. Okay. She says she went on duty. Hopefully she'll be back in. Okay, so everyone knows how to get this, right? I mean, to do that, you go to let me go to ANet. Nope. All right, I guess I have to sign back in. All right. I keep wanting to say anet.com and it's not. Let's do it again. Well, I guess I could. Okay, let's do this over. myanet.org. Okay. All right, so remember you're going to go to, let's just go to one school. Let's go Bel Air. So you're going to go to performance right here. You're going to go to data export. When you click on data export, still turning, you're going to click on this blue button, and then it'll send it to you in email. Okay? And then that's where you're going to get something that's going to look like this. It'll look something like this, and then you just kind of copy and paste into something that's more manageable for you. But you should only see your school. I have to do all this because I see everybody's. Okay, any questions at this point? All right. So that takes care of the teacher scoring part. Remember, there is no deadline for the teacher scoring. So technically, a teacher can score these items till the end of the school year. There is no deadline, but I mean, you need to score them quickly and use that information. Don't wait too long to score these, because then otherwise the second interim will be here, the winter assessment. By the way, when is the winter assessment? Let's look at that. So I'm going to go to the ANet Canvas course, and then in the ANet Canvas course, you can go here where it says go here to complete to access the complete schedule right here. So I'm going to click on that down arrow. It's going to download it, and this is it. All right, so let me go ahead and expand it. So the winter assessment starts January 9th, and it ends on January 25th. And then the district collects the data on January 30th. Now remember, when the district collects the data, they only collect the data on the computer items, the computer scored items. The teacher scored items are not part of this data collection. Now remember, ELA is easy. ELA, everyone gives assessment 2, right? Math is the tricky one. So just remember, for and we'll talk about this more as we go through the next month and a half. But for the winter assessment, it looks like everybody is giving assessment 2 except Eva Lagarde, which I don't see Eva Lagarde on here, will give assessment 3.
Michael.
Yes. Who's this?
It's Miss Robert.
Yes.
Hey,
Hey.
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait till you finish talking about the schedule of assessments, and I'll get back to you with my comment.
Okay. All right. So math assessment 2, 6th grade. All 6th grade except Eva Lagarde will give assessment 1. Eva Lagarde will give assessment 3. And then algebra 1 will give assessment 3. So math, as you know, this year is a little tricky. So it's very important. It's very important that you know which assessments are being given. So have this handy with you. Make copy of the math part. Make several copies, and then just give them to teachers if you need to. And teachers have access to this Canvas course, so they have access to this document. Ms. Robert, you had a question or a comment?
You answered it. Thank you.
What was it? I don't know what I answered. What was it?
I just popped up and saw you said assessment 3 for 6th grade with Eva Lagarde, and I was under the impression it was ELA, but then I read the screen and said Matt.
Oh yes. All right. For ELA, it's easy. It looks like everybody's taking the same assessment, so ELA is the easy one to deal with. So notice, Ms. Robert, everyone's gonna be taking assessment 2 in a district for ELA. So even Eva Lagarde. Now Eva Lagarde, the math is different from everybody else because they're using a different math curriculum. Okay. So just make sure that you familiarize yourself with the winter assessment, and let your teachers know as well. Okay, now the other thing I wanted you to notice, I put something in the Canvas course that was sent by ANet. So remember ANet had the online tools training last month, sometime at the end of October. Only 4 people attended both sessions. Remember, there was one for ELA, there was one for math. They sent me the resources, so I put it here. So I'll put it on the teacher training. So it says quiz tools resources. So when you go here, it looks like this is the condensed recording for the math one they did. And then this is the condensed recording for the ELA one we did, that they did. And this is the quiz tool resource bundle. So just let your teachers know that if they want to do anything with the quiz tools that's in ANet, that information is here. But only 4 people in the district attended these 2 trainings altogether. Only 4. So it could have been 1 in math, 3 in ELA. They just told me there were 4. Okay, but these are the condensed recordings. So now I'm going to send this out in an email, but only remember, I always send it out to coordinators and backups. I don't send it out to teachers because I don't have access to teachers, and I cannot send it out to principals because I can't send emails to principals. But right here, so you're going to go here where it says quiz tool resources, and then it's here. Okay. All right. And I know there are some schools utilizing the quiz tools, or there aren't many, but there are some schools that are. Okay. Then, okay, we talked about the testing schedule. We talked about the quiz tools. Now the subgroups. So some of you have been asking about subgroups. So let me just kind of show you what to do with those. So I'm going to go back to ANet, and let me see which school is on here. Did everyone sign in? Miss Heather Stewart, are you back on? Heather Stewart. Okay, she's not back on. Elizabeth Romero, are you back on? Oh, Heather Stewart says she's on. Okay, Heather, Elizabeth signed in, but she left. Is she coming back? Elizabeth Romero signed in, but she left. She's in my office. Oh, y'all together? Is that what that is? Okay. All right. That's good. All right. Thank you for letting me know. All right. Did everyone sign in? Okay, make sure you sign in. Okay. Now, so let me kind of show you some information about the subgroups, because some of you may be new and you may not be aware of that. All right, so I'm going to go to a particular school. Is there a school in here that's signed in that would like for me to use their school?
Yes.
Who said yes?
Capital Elementary.
Capital, okay. All right, Capital Elementary. So I'm going to go to Capital Elementary. All right, Capital Elementary. Okay, so the best thing to do is to go to school performance over time by, and then you have all these possibilities here. Now, I have access to all these. So for you, you only have access to probably, well, to one school. There might be some of you that have to go to another school, so you may have access to 2 schools. But I don't know what it looks like on your end. So hopefully you're able to play around with this as we go through this. But let's start with school performance over time by course. So I'm going to go school performance over time by course. And you're going to get something right away that looks like this. All right, now I have 2022, I have math, I have so when you look at the drop-down menu here, there's the math diagnostic and the engage compatible. So that's the SAS that you use for the interims. This one here, and keep it on all courses, although you could do by grade level, but keep it in all courses. And then let's and if I were to change this, by the way, if I were to change this to ELA, I would have to make sure I clicked on update. You got to click on update if this changes. So you click on update and then notice that this information down here changed. But let me go back to math. Since I went back to math, I'm going to have to update. Okay, so you see where it says advanced filters? Right now it has your metric is that you're looking at the average. So all of these percentages here are averages. That's what this metric says right here. But your network, in my case, I'm looking at 73 of 96 schools. Anyone that's looking at this, what does your network say? Those of you at a single school. Anyone? Okay, so I don't know what you're saying because I don't have the ability to look at it with just one school. But you're going to go to advanced filters, and then see that's the metric here. You can the metric always defaults to average, but you can look at percentages of students scoring at or above. That could be your metric. So your principal may want to say, I want to know what percentage of my students scored above 40%. You could do that. You could click on this and then notice you just move this all the way until you get to 40%, and that could be your metric. So the percentages that you see here would be the percentage of students scoring at or above in 40. I'm trying to move it 40%. Okay, so that's that little part. Some individuals know about this, some don't, but some of you may want to look at that. What percentage of my students scored at or above 40%? So if you do that real quick, and then now you have to update those. So you have to go all the way to the bottom to the green button and update, and then the numbers here then would be, you see that 50% that I'm showing right here? That means that 54% of the students at this school scored 40% or above. That's what that means. Any questions? So see right here, metric at or above 40%. So that number, that 54% that you're seeing, means 54% of all the students that took math, we're on math right here, that took math scored 40% or above. Any questions? All right, now that may be some useful information for your principal to look at, or your executive director to look at, or the literacy department to look at, because the literacy department has all schools, so they could look at it in terms of that as well. Okay, and I'm saying literacy department because there's someone here right now. All right, but I'm gonna go back to advanced filters, and I'm gonna go to average. So let's go back to average. Okay, now you see, you have all these states here. So there's some schools in California, Colorado, Indiana, the District of Columbia, Maryland, and so on that took, I would imagine, this particular assessment. All right. Well, you don't want all of these, right? You only want to if you only want to compare yourself to the schools in your district. So what I would do is I would go right here to where it says select all, and notice that all of these are checked, then go back and unselect it, and then go to Louisiana where it says show right here, show, and then so you have schools in Assumption Parish, Caldwell Parish, here's East Baton Rouge, and I'm scrolling down, you have schools in First Line Schools, New Orleans, East Carroll, Independent Charter, and so on. So these are all schools that supposedly gave that same test. But you only want EBR. So let's just click on EBR right here. And then we're gonna scroll down. And then let's say you want, now remember, these are your school demographics and these are your network demographics. So right now I'm at Capital Elementary. So let's suppose that Capital Elementary wants to look at how their EL students performed on that fall assessment. So you can click on EL right here. And then, so that's the school. And then let's say they want to compare how their EL students did in comparison to the other schools. So they're going to click EL for network demographics. So you're comparing Capital Elementary's EL performance with the network EL performance. Now, some individuals want to compare the EL with the non-EL in the network, but it's however you want to do it. And then you update, whenever you make any changes, you update. And then what you see here is well, let's see. Because I'm not seeing the network anymore. So, okay. So you see right here it says network 35%. So that's the network average. I think I did something. Let me go back and just make sure. And I think it may be because I have access to all those schools. That may be causing an issue. All right, so I did the school demographics and then EL. Let me just I'm just playing around here. So let me just keep it on all right here for a network and see what happens. Okay, so the network jumps up to 48%. All right. Now remember, I have access to all of these, so I'm not sure if that's having an effect. What are y'all seeing? Are y'all playing around with this? So I went to Capital Elementary, and I'm going to School Performance of Time by course, and I'm keeping on all courses. I'm going to Advanced. You see right here, you have the school and then you have the network. But the network, when I go here, is all of these. I don't want all of these. I go back and check something. All right. All right. So I'm gonna go back to Louisiana. I'm gonna click on this, and then let's go to EL. All right. I'm just gonna do that. See what happens. I'm gonna update, and it just goes back to this. I'm not understanding what's happening. Okay.
Maybe, Michael, we don't have EL.
Oh, you don't. Well, that's a good question. Do you have EL students at your school?
No, we don't. That's why when you click clicking on EL, I said we don't have EL.
Okay, well, all right. Thank you. That's why. All right. So you do have ESS. Well, I got to be careful. You do have students with IEPs, though, right?
Remember, we removed it because they are not taking the ANet.
No. Be careful.
Okay, we have IEPs. Yeah, we have.
Yeah, because the only students that don't take the Leap 2025 or Leap Connect students, they take the Leap Connect test. So
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you should have some students with IEPs that
Yes,
are
we
not
have.
Leap Connect. Okay, so I'm gonna click on
Yes.
this. All right. And then I'm gonna go here, click on this, so you can compare your students at IEPs with the other schools with IEPs. But before I do that, just a reminder, the reason why when we did the EL that we're only getting one little information was because there are no EL students at that school. So all you saw was the network. Hopefully, though, you'll see something here. So let's click on this. And there we go. All right. So interesting, though, there's only third grade showing up. So Ms. Boo, it could be one of, so you'll notice that fourth grade and fifth grade is not showing up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We have IEPs in third, fourth, and fifth.
Okay. So, how many students have an IEP that's in fourth grade? Do you have I know you don't have it in front of you, but can you take a guess?
Yes, we have 2.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so the rest of you, listen carefully. So the reason why you don't see a 4th or a 5th grade here is because ANet does not report data. See, I'm looking at students and IEPs, right? Does not report if it's less than 5. So Ms. Booth said there were 4 students. There were 4 students with IEPs. Well, I'm sorry, 2 students with IEPs in 4th grade. It's not going to show up here. It's going to show up here because there's at least 5 altogether in all the grades, but it's not going to show up per grade level. So notice that 4th grade's not showing up, 5th grade's not showing up because there's less than 5 students with an IEP. 3rd grade showing up. So Ms. Bill, I'm assuming you have more 5 or more students at IEPs in 3rd grade.
Don't.
Would you say?
We have, yes, we have only, actually we have only 2 IEPs also in 3rd grade.
I don't think so because it's showing here. So you may want to look at it a little bit more carefully. It's showing something here, so that means that there's got to be at least 5. I'm just telling you what I was told. You may want to look at that. So
Yes, I'm checking right now.
okay, so look at what we have here. So we have the school average is 39%, and then the network average is 49%. All right, so 39%, and then the network is the average is 49%. So when you look at this, see that the school average is 39%, but all you see is 3rd grade, right? And 3rd grade, the school average was 18%. So you may want to say, well, why don't they match? Why is this saying 18% and this saying 39%? That's because you're not seeing 4th or 5th grade because there's less than 5 students. But all those students altogether are included in here. All right, so the school average is 39%. The network average is 49% for students at IEPs. Okay, now you see that 30%, that negative minus, I'm sorry, that red minus 30, negative 30. That means this. So you see where it says the school average is 18% for 3rd grade. So for all those students with an IEP in 3rd grade, their average was 18%. That negative 30% means that they were 30 points below the network average. So if this is 18 for 3rd grade, then of all the schools that I just chose from a network, if this is 18%, then that means that the network average for all the grade levels, 3rd, 4th, and 5th was what? What do y'all think? Anyone? I'm going to ask a question again. For 3rd grade, at that school, the school average for students with IEP was 18%. My question is this. For my network, for those 47 schools, what was the average for the network for students with IEPs? Okay, Heather Stewart says 48%. That's correct. So if this is 18%, and I said that the network average minus 30 means that the school was 30 points below the network average, and that means that the network is 30 points above the school. So 18 plus 30 is 48. Okay. All right. So any questions at this point on the subgroups? So a couple things you got to remember. You may, when you do this, you may not see your grade listed here. You may see one, but not some of the others. It only reports, it will only show up if there's 5 or more students in that subgroup. If there's less than 5 students, that information will not show up. If altogether there's 5 or more, then you're going to have the bars. You will have the bars. You just won't have this. You won't have it broken down. Now you can save those filters as well. So you can go here. You can go here, and you could select. Okay, and then let's see. You could create a new filter. I'm just going to call it those I delete. But you can name it. You want to name it based on what this is. So I'm going to save it. All right, and I'm going to go back to ELA. I'm going to update, and then I'm going to come back to math. And when I come back to math, and I'm going to go to, let's go back to update. All right, I'm going to go to my filter. All right, so I'm going to go to my filter, dosat, and then you see it defaults back to the 47 right here. So it goes back to the 47. So if I just go to select save filters, let me do this. Go update, ELA, update. All right, math, let's come back to math, update. All right, so now it says 73 of 96, but remember I saved the filter, right? So I don't want to have to go back and do all of this stuff here. I just go back here to the filter I saved, and then notice it goes to the 47 I need. You see what I did? I mean, it could be very useful, especially if you have to keep doing these networks, because if you don't save it, then you're going to have to go through each of these all the time and redo it. Now that's for math. Now if you do it ELA, you have to do a save filter again. So you have to do one for ELA, one for math. So if I go to ELA, I'm going to pick a different school because Ms. Boo does not have any EL students. Is there anyone in here that has EL population?
River Oaks has a large
All right.
EL population.
Okay, great. All right, so and you could do it school performance over time by course, teacher, student, all that. I'm just gonna keep it on course for right now. I'm gonna go to River Oaks, and all right, go to River Oaks. I'm gonna go school performance over time by course, and so we're on math, and notice that my filter doesn't show up anymore. Well, actually it may, because I have some save filters. All right, I'm gonna go to update. I'm going to go to my saved filters. Well, I guess I have to change it every time I do a different school because it's not there. Okay. Oh well, that's. I mean, you only have one school, so it's okay for you. But for me, I would have to do it all the time, which is not very useful. Okay, so let's go to advanced filters. I'm going to clear all this because I don't need all of it. I'm going to go to Louisiana, and I'm going to just pick EBR. All right, and then I'm going to compare the EL students at River Oaks with the EL students at the other schools in my network. I'm going to update. All right, and notice that now you see they have a third, fourth, and fifth. So at River Oaks, the school average altogether for all those math courses, their average was a little over the network average. So the average performance of EL students was 37% compared to the network EL students, which is 35. And then you go, and then breaks down even further down here, third grade, the average. Now I want you to notice something, just to remind you, the average and the interims are the same for River Oaks, and that's because there was only one interim. But once you get through some more interims, the average will take into account all the interims that are taken. So right now I'm talking about average because the interim and the average are the same. All right, now, so if you look at third grade, the EL population for third grade at that school was 43%. That was the average performance. The network is green, positive 6%. So what does that mean? So the school average is 43%. The network says 6% green. What does that mean?
That means we were 6% above the district.
You were 6% above the district average, right? Good. So if your school is 43% for third grade, what was the district average? I'm not going to say district, say your network, because you can all choose different schools in your network. What was the network average then? If your school average is 43%, the schools in my network up here, the 47 schools, what was their average for EL population?
37?
37, yes. I had to look. I'm math, and I had to.
I'm a math coach, and I had to think about it.
Oh, look, I had to use my fingers. Thank God I have enough fingers and toes. Yes. All right. So that's what that means. Okay. All right. Now, just like we did with Capital Elementary, if the grade level doesn't show up, and you do it by subgroup, that means that you have less than 5 in that subgroup, so it will not show up broken down. But if there's altogether more than 5 or more, then you'll get the bar graphs. All right, and so notice the average and the intervals are the same. So my question is, at this point, November 15th, why is this 37% the same as this 37%, and 35 and 35 are the same here?
Because we've only taken one interim.
Right. When you take the second one, then the average
It'll
will be a combination of the interims, all the interims that are taken. Okay. All right. So I know we did a lot, and that's what I wanted to cover today. Is there anything else you want me to look at?
I do have a question that came up as we were doing our data shares.
Okay.
So we did our data shares, and we were looking at questions and what was missed, which questions were missed. And a lot of them, the kids were missing the drag and drop questions. But when we started looking at interim 2 to start kind of looking at how to prepare them better for that, we can't see the drag and drop questions and the printable ones. Is there any other way to see that?
That's a good question. I know that last year they had they had a way in which you can actually go in and take the test as a student would in advance of when it would, but they haven't shared that. Let me just go and okay. So let's see. I'm at River Oaks, so I'm going to go to dashboard. I'm going to go to manage assessments and materials for assessment 2. So
I know there was one in 4th grade when we printed the booklet. Would it be in the analysis guide?
Yeah, I mean,
we were looking at the actual assessment booklet for the kids.
Oh no. So so if you go to this is let me go to math. Math is usually where you're gonna get those drag and drops.
Right.
So I went to math. I'm going to let's just go to 4th grade, see what happens. So I'm going to the analysis guide, and so it says item type. This is selected response. Drag. So here's a drag and drop. So that's what.
Okay. So we would have to look in the analysis.
Yeah.
Okay,
is that what you're looking for?
Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for.
All right. Now you won't be able to actually go in and drag yourself, but
right. But at least it gives us an idea of what they're going to be asked to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now at the just real quick, because I have another meeting at 10. So at the principal training with ANet always espouses that ANet would let teachers look at the assessments in advance for planning purposes. The problem is that some principals feel that they don't want to do that for various reasons. I mean, some of them are good because they feel that the teachers may teach a test, which if they do, the teachers teach a test, and this becomes useless information because you really don't know if the students really know it or if they know it only because they were just taught that item, the specific item. So you have, all of you have access to the analysis guide. Don't share it with the teachers unless the principal asks you to. So it's a school by school decision. So for the fall interim, just be careful what you share with teachers because teachers don't have access to this, but you do. So be careful what you share. I'll only share this kind of information with your principal's permission. All right, and then math coaches, you need to be looking at that because you want to, you're working with teachers, so you want to. So one of the things that students struggle with is drag and drop, and they do that on the state test. So a lot of items are missing the state test because of technology items, and in math, if there's only one part that's incorrect, then the whole item is wrong. So you want students to have practice with all those technology type items. The drag and drop and multi-select. I mean, although multi-select is not a true technology item where they move stuff, you have to get all the in math. You have to get all the items correct. There's no partial credit. So you want teachers to start creating items that kind of mimic what students will see on the state test because the students need to know how to handle those. And then when the students go to college, chances are they're not going to see those drag and drops anymore, right? So, but you still want to try to try and have some teacher assessments that mimic the type of items students will see on state test. And I'm assuming, Carrie, that's what y'all are trying to do.
Yes, we're trying to, because we noticed there's a lot more spiral through ANet than what happens in math. And so we're trying to make sure we keep relevant the stuff that they're going to keep seeing and spiral back through the questions we missed and exactly look at drag and drop questions and that type of thing to make sure they're ready.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thank you. All right. Let's see. These are the individuals that signed in. I'm trying to see if I can. Let me go ahead and expand this. All right. So these individuals that signed in. If you didn't sign in, please sign in just in case. Just in case someone asks for this list. No one has asked so far, but you never know. One of your principals may ask for to see if so and so signed in. They haven't, but just go ahead and sign in. All right. So our next meeting will be oh well, it won't be next week because you're off next week, right? That's awesome. So our next meeting will be let's see, when's the next one? The 29th, is that correct? 29th. All right. So if you don't email me or call me, then have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll meet the week after Thanksgiving because the few weeks after Thanksgiving is where you have to go back in like you did with the first interim, and you have to check to make sure that those assessments are assigned correctly. Now remember, if an 8th grade student is taking Algebra 1, then that student has to take the Algebra 1 ANet assessment. All right, so remember, the students have to take the ANet assessment for which they are enrolled. All right, and we'll talk more about that next time. You're welcome, Susan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I have a meeting at 10 that I've got to get ready for. And I'll see y'all after Thanksgiving. Have a great break. And I'll send the recording. To you sometime today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.